Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. It means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Jacob Beck, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us for the next couple of hours. If you're here in Baton Rouge and listening to us live right now, hope you're staying dry and safe. It's a wet afternoon here, but the weekend is just about upon us. We'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN. 15 minutes from now, Preston Guy, his normal spot, tigerbait.com. We are closing in on football. LSU just 6 days away from breaking fall camp. We'll talk to Preston about that at 1:15. Donald Trump has issued an executive order. Let's get into what that may mean for college football. I've got some thoughts. I did a lot of reading on that this morning, candidly, because I got to read a lot about that stuff before I get on the air and talk about it. We did that. LSU wide receivers will be a topic of conversation in the second hour. I wrote a piece on that on LouisianaSports.net today. I'm very excited for Keith Hornsby, former LSU Tiger shooting guard, who had a nice professional career, most of which was overseas. Was back in Baton Rouge working as a coach with the LSU basketball program. Just talked to Keith, so we'll chat with him coming up at 2:30 there off the practice floor. So excited to get to chat with him. Been a while since we talked to Keith, so we'll do that at 2:30. Let's crank things up the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
So right now, the buzz with the New Orleans Saints is very clearly on training camp. It's the quarterbacks. You saw Spencer Rattler take the first team reps back on Wednesday. You saw Tyler Shough take them on Thursday. Today, Jay Kaner in some walkthrough periods work with the first team. And you're getting reports on completion percentages and arm strength. And then you're hearing press conferences. And you're getting a lot of information on the quarterback position. That's the biggest story in camp. And you've certainly got stories on Kellen Moore and how he's handling things in a brand new defense with Brandon Staley. And that's the buzz here. But there is a part of training camp that also revolves around roster building. Like, you've got to put together a roster. And a lot of that obviously comes from the group that you've brought to camp with your rostered players and your draft picks and your undrafted free agents and all that. And then there's a part of it that is still veteran free agents that are in play at this time of year. And those are prevalent every single year. And the Saints are kicking tires. They do have some money to spend. That's a rarity. When usually, if you're talking about adding a free agent at this point with New Orleans Saints, you're having to move money around and figure something out like that. That's not the case this time around. There is some money left over in the coffers that the Saints can dole out if they find a fit. And y'all know by this point, y'all know how I feel about contracts in Saints land at this point, okay? I don't want long-term deals for older players. I want young players. I want cheap players. But I'm also okay with short-term deals. And I'm realizing that right now, your job is to make life as palatable and quote-unquote easy as possible for Spencer Rattler and what I believe to be the starter in Tyler Shough. So, does it make sense with those parameters in place? Those are always the parameters. Does it make sense to bring in Noah Fant? Well, the Saints have certainly brought him in on a visit. They've kind of showed him and made their pitch. He's been in New Orleans. And I believe it does make sense on the right deal to bring in Noah Fant. Now, here is what Noah Fant is. He's Juwan Johnson. That's exactly what Noah Fant is. It is shocking for me to show the statistics and the measurables and the age of these two players. Noah Fant is 28. Juwan Johnson is 29. They're months apart. Noah Fant is 6'4". Juwan Johnson is 6'4". Noah Fant weighs 249. Juwan Johnson weighs 231. So he's 20 pounds heavier, but you get the point. Same type of frame and height. Basically the same age. In the last 3 seasons, Noah Fant has 1,400 receiving yards. Juwan Johnson has 1,424. They are separated by 24 yards over 3 seasons of football. Fans have been in Seattle. Johnson's obviously in New Orleans. Noah Fant's got 130 catches in 3 years. Juwan Johnson has 129. They're separated by 1 catch and 24 yards in 3 years. They're the same height. They're months apart. They're basically the same guy. The big differentiator, and this is more based on chance, I would suggest, than actual production, Juwan Johnson's got 14 touchdown catches over the last 3 years, and Noah Fant has 5. But they're catching the same amount of balls. They're catching them for the same amount of yards. They're the same age. They're the same height. They're basically the same. So why would you need the same guy? If you already have Juwan Johnson, why would you need to bring in Noah Fant? Well, that's pretty simple. Because Taysom Hill's not ready to play, and who knows what he will be when he is ready to play. And Foster Moreau joins him on the PUP list, and he can't play either. So you've basically got Juwan Johnson and then a cast of characters. Yes, you used a 7th-round pick, but, you don't have anybody else that you can point to go, that's a pro-ready, proven tight end that I know I can plug in. So you may need to get one of those. If you had Foster Moreau, I would go, I don't know that Noah Fant makes a lot of sense. Go get a big-bodied wide receiver. That's what you need. You need somebody on the perimeter that's big and physical and creates a shield with his body and can make tough catches over the middle and be a big third down resource and all those things. That's, to me, a bigger need than tight end. But this basically kind of serves the same purpose. And so I'm for it. What's better? Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of things that are better for a young quarterback than a second-team tight end. But tight ends, I'll rephrase, tight ends are very, very helpful to young quarterbacks because tight ends create easy throws. It's awesome to have Rashid Shaheed and his blazing speed, but sometimes to get him the ball, you're going to have to make a throw. You're going to make a 55-yard down-the-field throw to hit him and make a big play. It's awesome to have Chris Olave, but he might be in tight windows. He's not the biggest guy. He works in tight quarters. He's quick and he's agile, and you might have to thread the needle to get him the ball. Tight ends are generally not much more than 10 or 12 yards down the field. They're not moving all that fast, and they sit down in soft spots in defenses and create pitch and catch throws. That is a great thing to have for a young quarterback. So I've long said that Juwan Johnson's a little bit limited in what he can be, but that's in relation to his contract, which is $10 million a year, and it's multiple years. That I didn't need. But if you can get Noah Fant on a 1-year deal for 2.5 or whatever the market dictates, he's certainly made significantly more than that the last 3 years, but he got cut. So I don't think he's going to break the bank here as a guy who just got released. So to me, if the Saints can find a manageable 1-year deal, yes, absolutely. Bigger frame, 250 pounds, been productive, been durable. Last year only played 14 games, but the years before that, 17, 17, 16, 15, 16. He's been on the field. He's a pro. He's been pretty productive. He gives you some depth at a spot where you don't have a lot of depth because of injury. And he makes things easier on your quarterback. You're checking just about every box I need checked here. I would prefer a 6'5" wide receiver with a little bit more athleticism. Those are a little tougher to find, and they're more expensive. But there's a need here that the Saints have created based on their roster management, and I think Fant does fit that. So if I were the Saints and I could work out a manageable deal, and I don't know what the market, he's visited multiple teams, I don't know what the market's going to suggest for Noah Fant. That's beyond my purview. And if they bring him in on a deal that I don't like, I'll tell you. If it's a 1-year deal, I don't really care. A 1-year deal, there's very little the Saints could do where I would go, that's really dumb. Because I don't think this team's going to be great. I don't think they're going to be in a position to add a little bit later. I don't think they're going to be in contention to win the division of the conference. So a 1-year deal, this is not a year I'm concerned with the salary cap anyway. You get to 2 years and certainly 3 years, then all of a sudden I pull the reins back, and that's where we are with Juwan Johnson. I don't think they'll do that with Fant with the understanding that Juwan Johnson's already here. So I have very little fear that the Saints are going to botch this in any way. I think it can only help if you do it on the right terms. Now, does Fant want to come here and play for a team that may not be very good behind a guy that has the same skill set as him, that's a Fant call. That's going to probably come down to dollars and cents. And if you're talking about a guy who got cut, who can't command very much, who's going to be on the veteran minimum, at least in this spot, he should get an opportunity to play. And the best way to make more money is to play well. So maybe that's his quickest route to the field, to the bank. But I'm all for it. I think it's a great fit for the Saints. They can make it work. It's not a rush, and I don't think Fant's in a hurry. Talking about a guy who's played 6 years in the NFL, I don't think he's in just a dead sprint to get out there in the 98-degree heat and go through training camp. If you can take 7 extra days before you sign that contract, might be a good deal to kind of work out on your own and not necessarily get into the throes of camp. That's a veteran move, and I'm okay with that too. Work smarter, not always harder. So that's my 2 cents on the Saints with Noah Fant. And that's our Genesis opening drive here on this Friday. We're brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Get on by for a late lunch. Crispy fried catfish, jumbo, and I mean jumbo, Gulf shrimp, their recipe, formed right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. It is phenomenal stuff. If you're one of those folks, and I understand this, that thinks, I'm from South Louisiana, I'm not going to go through a drive-through for my seafood. I understand where you're coming from. Just try Cork's once. I promise you will be impressed with the quality of the product. It's great. They got great po' boys. They can feed a ton of people for a party or, for a feed the office. And certainly, if you're trying to zip by for dinner tonight on the way home, want to just grab something quick and easy, Cork's is just that. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. They bring you our Friday shows each and every week. We'll come back with Preston Guy from tigerbait.com, talking LSU football next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies. We've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability. Because your well-being is more than a priority, it's our purpose.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they They've been called upon to cradle and cool your crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Talk to former Tiger great Keith Hornsby at the bottom of hour number 2. That'll come up at 2:30. Just had an LSU baseball player involved in a trade deadline deal. Griffin Herring, who was the Yankees draft selection last year, headed to Colorado as part of a trade deadline deal. So talk a little bit about that at the end of the hour as well. Donald Trump signed an executive order yesterday that impacts college football, college sports as a whole. We'll do that in 15 minutes. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Good enough to join us here on Fridays. Last one in the offseason. Next time we talk to Preston Ellis, you'll have a practice in the rearview mirror. Got to the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Now, Preston, how we doing?
All right, how's it going? Hope you're staying drier today than I am.
Yeah, the studio does pretty well keeping the rain out and sun and any weather at all, because it's just a hole where we don't get any of that through windows or otherwise. So, yeah, we're dry, and we'll talk a little bit of football here with you. I'm curious, now that we are inside a week, like what's your feeling? What are you excited to go see next week?
Man, I am looking forward to seeing just the unit, the personnel that they're rolling out there, particularly on the offensive line where they're replacing 4 starters. You know, I think fans are probably almost a little tired of hearing about that, but I think that's going to be the key for this team. I like most of the units on this team. I'm a little concerned about the offensive line and certainly how they looked in spring, and I'm hoping to see, sometimes units come into the season as a massive concern and they end up being okay or good. Look at defensive tackle last year. Every one of us was circling that as the biggest problem, and it ended up being fine.
So as far as the line goes, do you feel like Chester's going to start?
Somewhere. Whether he starts at center or Braylon Moore starts at center and he punches out to guard, we'll see. I think he'll do better at guard. I expect that's probably going to be the move. Of course, they didn't make that move in spring. Braylon Moore stayed second team the whole time, but I have a strong feeling that coaches are wanting to keep, not play all their cards too early, with all these portal windows open. It's easy to get a few guys upset and have them, well, I'm not going to start this year. I'm hitting the portal. So maybe it's better to keep those decisions, with a short list of people knowing it before we re-roll it out to the whole team.
So I'm of the opinion that the offensive line is going to take a step back this year. I think how far back that step is dictates how good the offense ultimately is. Do you see it a different way?
Well, let's put it like this. Last year's offensive line was very good elite pass blockers.
Yeah.
They got 4 guys drafted. But running the ball, they were pretty subpar in their run blocking. So what I'm hoping for is I don't think it's a realistic expectation that you're going to have a Will Campbell out there again this year. But I'm hoping it's more of a balanced unit where they're maybe a little bit better at run blocking, but maybe the pass blocking isn't quite as elite. And that kind of evens out. And I'm hoping that other units step up to kind of pick up the slack. I mean, a lot of your offensive line, you can help out your offensive line and not giving up sacks by having receivers that are getting the ball, getting open way quicker. That tends to help. A lot of times running backs being able to find a tighter hole, that can help out. So that's kind of where I look at it is, I don't think overall they're going to be as good as they were a year ago, although football's funny and things happen. But I'm hoping it's more of a balanced unit, and I'm hoping the talent around them can kind of pull the slack.
So Brian Kelly has said a couple times, whether it's at Media Days, Rotary Club, or wherever, that they didn't do anything with the depth chart in the spring. That was about development. But he wants to settle on that quickly, and that's kind of part of the we got to be better in the opener type deal. Like, we need to know who our guys are pretty quick and then go to practice. Do you feel like they can have an offensive line set after a week and a half?
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. They've been looking at spring practice with all these guys for how many months. They probably know who their starters are right now. Maybe a spot or two, but I don't think it's going to be the starters that we saw in the actual spring game, and exactly what Brian Kelly was telling you. I think they made the cohesive staff decision that we're not going to determine a starting lineup for spring. And that what goes hand in hand with that is they chose not to do an official spring game. They did an open spring practice, and then guess what? They had 2 more practices after that. The whole point of the way they were doing everything is just, we're just going to practice football. We're not determining position battles yet. But you can't tell me the coaches aren't sitting there evaluating their guys and have some decisions made already.
So how do you feel about Tyree Adams?
Well, I think that's probably your one guy you're looking at here who you're feeling really comfortable about his spot. But if I had to bet on one guy keeping his spot, it's probably Tyree Adams there at left tackle. He just got the build of a left tackle. I think of the guys out there, particularly the guys stepping up and who weren't starters. Obviously, DJ Chester's the only one who does return, and you don't have much confidence. I think you have the most confidence in him.
They threw for 300 and change and 3 touchdowns in the bowl game without a sack given up. I mean, does that give you confidence that even though the only guy that played off that offensive line was Frazier and he was playing tackle, that maybe that there's some real talent there and some real potential?
Yeah, I mean, certainly that does. But I think Baylor also had a bit of a skeleton crew they were rolling out there. I don't think they were working with a full shop of defensive linemen out there. But yes, against any Division I team to go out there and look that good, that's encouraging. However, I think we all know that with this schedule and this, particularly your first game, the defensive line at Clemson is going to be the nastiest, possibly nastiest in the country, but I believe the nastiest on your schedule this year. You're not looking to just do what you did against teams like Baylor. You need them to step up and play against the best defensive linemen in the country because, look, hey, South Carolina, talk about a really good defensive line. They've got a really good one, too. So, I mean, you're going to have to go out there and be good enough to stop the best in the country. That's kind of the bar that you have to have with this offensive line. And in my opinion, I don't think they're necessarily going to be good enough to just go up there and one-on-one and man up and go out there and say you're going to get 0 sacks today, okay? You're going to have to scheme around it. You're going to have to do some things to get them off kilter. You're going to have to call, some screens. You're going to have to make some things happen to where the defensive linemen can't just go white knuckles, leaning straight forward and launching themselves out there, and be effective enough in the running game to where you can, actually keep them honest out there. I think you have to use your scheme to supplement them this year.
You're talking, and it's just the bells and whistles are going off in my head. Florida State 3 years ago, where you were facing Jared Verse, Fiske, and like those guys that were just, and LSU just couldn't block them. And it took them until 2 weeks later to get Emory Jones in the lineup and shake things around, and you change your center and move Dellinger off and put Turner in. And by the time they got to November, like they had a pretty good offensive line, but they weren't any good the first game. And that's the nightmare scenario for this year, right?
I mean, absolutely, it's the nightmare scenario. Now, if your team with this much continuity looks as disorganized as LSU looked 3 years ago against Florida State, you have to ask some serious questions about Brian Kelly about why he can't get his team ready to line up for an opener. I mean, it's more than a weakness of the coach at that point. It's like, this has been your 4th year, man. I mean, you got both your coordinators returning. You lost one coach this offseason. You brought, your quarterback is coming back, and his number 1 receiver is back. What is going on here? Why is your team look good? Yeah, you lost 4 offensive linemen. Everybody's losing players around the country. So yes, let's hope the conversation is not anywhere near similar. I'm not saying LSU can't lose the game and be all right, because Clemson is going to get. A lot of people are hyping them up as high as the number 1 team in the country. They might be a very good football team, and that's okay. I'm not guaranteeing that. But your team should not look as disorganized and in disarray as you did in 2022 when you got an entirely new coaching staff and an entirely new roster all learning how to play and coach together.
Agreed. Last one on the offensive line. Carius Kern. Your thoughts on his season as a freshman? Do you think he breaks in at some point, or just a real talent that's going to be a depth piece and a future star?
I'll throw another one out there who's in the same category as Carius Kern there, man. It's Solomon Thomas. You got 2 5-star interior offensive linemen, and you're just sitting there. You're wondering, are one of them going to have their Will Campbell moment where you've got veteran guys you're expecting to go out there? I don't know if you remember this, but Hunt, do you remember who we just had just penned in and dried ink at left tackle going into that 2022 season? It was Miles Frazier. We all were doomed to determine it was going to be Miles Frazier at left tackle. That's a no-brainer. Well, that true freshman came out and said, "Nah, that's me." So, look, because we have no idea who this actual starting 5 is going to be for this offensive line, yeah, both those guys have an opportunity to slide in and steal a starting spot if they're developed enough, if they're polished enough, because there's not multi-year veteran starters out there. And the one multi-year veteran starter you are bringing back, he had a shaky year last year, albeit as a younger player. But, I mean, essentially, yeah, any one of them could go out there and snag a starting spot, and they're both talented enough to do it. I just wonder, it's very tough for a true freshman on offensive line to come in because you just got to have years in that weight room, man. I mean, it is very difficult to be strong enough and developed enough with your technique to stand up against veteran SEC linemen as a true freshman. So, but you've got 2 candidates to do it, 2 very talented guys who if you were going to say this is the rare exception, I could believe you.
If this offensive line struggles a little bit in pass pro, especially at tackle, does that hurt Trey'Dez Green's ability to get on the field if you've got to go with Sharp or even Donovan Green to block as a tight end?
I mean, absolutely it does, but it turns Trey'Dez Green into a situational player. Yeah. If you need to get in, and more importantly, if Trey'Dez Green doesn't develop as a blocker, he's probably set to be a situational player anyways. First off, Bauer Sharp is a good player, and he's a complete tight end that they feel they can use him as a receiver and a blocker, okay? Trey'Dez Green, elite receiver, great goal line threat, but if he doesn't bulk up a little bit and he's capable of making, decent blocks, particularly to supplement a new pair of offensive tackles, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a situational player, and you might see him get some play in certain scenarios, but you're not going to see him out there on every single down, and it will take away from it. It'd be great to have a weapon like him that's just a vertical mismatch on any linebacker, or it would be great, but you might have to go with the proven blocker to supplement them if they aren't good enough. Now, if they turn out to be studs, man, I would really like to see you use Trey'Dez Green on every play because he's so good in the receiving game.
No question about it. He equaled Mason Taylor's season-long touchdown catches in one bowl game. So he's a pretty talented dude. We'll see. We'll see you out there next week, Preston. Appreciate it.
All right, Hunt. See you soon.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. It's football season. If you want your info, your coverage, Tigerbait always does an awesome job. Preston, good enough to give us some time here on this Friday. That's not something I thought of, but as you have these conversations on the air, your mind's going and you're thinking about where to go with the conversation next based on answers. And that's just something that popped into my head is if they're struggling at tackle and you need some help blocking, which happens all the time, like Trey'Dez Green can't really do that. Like I don't think in Trey'Dez Green's time here at LSU, he's going to become some elite blocker. He's just not built that way. He's, as I've talked about many times, he's a willing blocker. He wants to try, but he's got these long, skinny arms, relatively speaking, and he's less physical than he is freakishly athletic. So it's just, you're going to have to put Bauer Sharp out there. You may have to put Donovan Green out there, who's been a quality blocker at Texas A&M and is big and well over 250 pounds, and he can do some of that. And that limits you offensively when you take Trey'Dez Green off the field. When you do that, you are taking one of your advantages off the field to counter one of the other advantages on the defense, which is rushing the passer against your tackles who aren't holding up. So it's just how everything works together. It's interesting that the offensive line is just so far and away the key to this season for LSU. For me, I don't even know what second is, but it's not that close. Because if they can hold up up front, they're going to win a ton of games. If they can't, they are compromised in a big way, and they're not going to win a ton of games. It's a massive, massive swinging point for this LSU team. So I appreciate Preston giving us a little bit of time. All right, Donald Trump issued an executive order yesterday. What does it mean for collegiate athletics? I'll tell you my thoughts next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Invite you to go to the online site and check out the inventory. I was there at Genesis yesterday. They said most buying processes start online. But I also highly suggest you go by and visit the team at Airline and PQ and just see for yourself with your own eyes what this line of vehicles looks and feels like. The GV80 and the GV80 Coupe are their best sellers. They're the midsize SUVs. The GV80 is a little bit more full size. The 80 Coupe is a little bit sportier, but they're just fine vehicles. I got behind the wheel of one of the GV80s yesterday, and it's just awesome. I've driven smaller SUVs my entire life, and to get behind the wheel of one of those, it's so comfortable. It's got every feature you can want, and as I tell you all the time, one of the safest cars on the road. And listen to the warranties that you're going to get if you purchase a new Genesis. 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper. Bumper to bumper, 5 years, 60,000 miles. And then you've got your 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty that is industry-leading. Just part of the perks of being a Genesis driver. Roadside assistant comes with all of them. So be a Genesis driver. Go by and see them, Airline at PQ. You can start that process, as I said, at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. LSU baseball Tiger just pinned a goodbye note to the program. We'll talk about it coming up in 15 minutes. Donald Trump signed an executive order yesterday concerning collegiate athletics. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds. We're going to do a surface level here. I read a lot about it this morning, and certainly don't feel like I have like a perfect understanding of every single bit of the entirety of this order. But I do feel like I understand what's pertinent and have my thoughts on that as a whole. The general sentiment from athletic directors, conference commissioners, is that this is a big positive. The general sentiment from people who I'm reading up from attorneys is that, one, it won't pass because the Democrats are not going to pass it in the Senate, and two, it would probably be subject to significant amount of litigation if it were passed because attorneys don't find that it's constitutional. So what it says in the nuts and bolts of the biggest piece of it, and this is certainly not all of it, but the biggest piece of it is that they're eliminating third-party pay-per-play activity in collegiate athletics. They're trying to eliminate big boosters cutting checks for nothing so athletes will play. There needs to be some sort of perceived value in the endorsement of a company for the money to go to the student athlete. Like, this certainly would allow folks to go on, post on Instagram, get millions of views, and receive payment from a company for something like that. It certainly would allow for an LSU baseball player to give batting lessons for $100 an hour. It certainly allows for things like that appear to be on the up and up and fair, quote unquote, market value. It wants to stop the process of the oil tycoon paying $6 million to a player who never endorses the oil company in any way. They're just getting paid to go play sports. And the powers that be in collegiate athletics are like, heck yeah, let's calm this thing down. We'll share our revenue. You can post on Instagram, but we don't need millions and millions changing hands to these student athletes who then jump in the transfer portal and we can't keep them here and then they go somewhere else. They're going, yes, do that because that serves their interest. And that's why they're for it. And Donald Trump signs that into quote unquote law. But the fact of the matter is that it's not going to pass in the Senate based on the votes that they think they have. And the other piece to this is like, who's to determine what the market value is? Because generally speaking, if you're talking about a free market, it's just what someone's willing to pay. And if someone's willing to pay $6 million for you to play edge rusher, then that's what the market dictates. Because this school was willing to pay you $4, and this one was going to pay you $5, but they paid you $6, and there's the market, and I'm taking $6. And I just have a hard time believing that you're going to be able to litigate that out of collegiate athletics now that it's been litigated into collegiate athletics. That's my thing. Like, I know we've got the clearinghouse with Deloitte, and you're supposed to clear every single NIL deal that's over $600, and the word is that those are taking forever now, that we were assured in writing, like, yeah, we'll get those turned around in a matter of hours and perhaps just a day. Well, they're waiting 10, 20, 25 days now before things are getting clarified. And so the people that I'm reading are writing that schools are just saying, to heck with it. We're not going to wait for this to get cleared. Here's your money. It's a mess. It is a mess because no one can determine what's legal and what's the way we're going to do this. And most of all, who's in charge? And it just doesn't feel like anyone has stepped to the forefront. There's outlines of plans and there are ideas, and there are some people that more are outspoken than others. But to me, as I look at this, once you determined, and the Supreme Court determined, that you can't say someone cannot capitalize on their name, image, and likeness for financial gain, and once we crossed that Rubicon into this world that we're in, trying to limit how much money someone can make is going to be nearly impossible when it comes to the letter of the law. Because no one cares how much Nike pays an NBA player. No one cares how much Nike pays a golfer. No one cares how much Viore pays Livy Dunn. Because those are out of the sport endorsement deals based on what the company wants to do. And to try to take collegiate athletes and say, well, these are amateurs and those are pros, so we're going to let the pros do that, but we're going to keep these amateurs. Well, they're not amateurs anymore. They're getting paid. Collectively bargained money that is brought in from revenue from the schools that's going to the athletes. These are employees. So to tell them that they can't go to a business and earn money, like, I don't care if you think it's the best thing for college sports or not. That part doesn't matter. What matters is that the court system in the United States of America is not going to let you say, no, you can't make $1.5 million. You can only make $100,000. That's not how our system works. At least not my understanding of it. And trust me, I'm not trying to be the smartest guy in the room here. I'm not trying to tell you I have a perfect solution. But based on everything that I'm reading, every time you try to limit financially what a student athlete can make, the court is going to look at you and go, no, no, no. They can do whatever they want. The only way to limit the money that someone makes in the sport is a salary cap, which is collectively bargained by a players association and an ownership group. And that is just on the salary perspective for playing the sport. In terms of recruiting and endorsements, I just don't have a great path to cutting that money out. I don't. So, when I see the idea that, well, we'll do revenue share and then we'll make sure that every marketing deal is fair and not just pay for play, it sounds good. It sounds like you've got it under control, but the court's not going to let you do it. If you are someone in a public space and a business owner decides they're going to pay you, they can. And I just don't think that Pandora is going back in the box, to me. Again, if something gets passed into law and there are rules that get put into place that are enforceable and that the courts can't touch, like, I'll come back and say, oh, I never thought of that. I was dead wrong. I have no problem doing that. But I feel pretty strongly about this. Like, you look at what the attorneys in this matter say and not the coaches and the athletic directors. They're the ones that have the knowledge of how this whole thing works outside of college sports, just in our society, in our legal system. You can't just work around that for SEC football. Not now. You did it for a long time. Not now. I see the executive order. I see the champions for it from coaching and athletic directors and conference commissioners. I just don't think it holds up. And I think that it'll get struck down by the courts. There are going to be lawsuits aplenty based on all these happenings over the last 12 months. You know that my thing on this is always, okay, well, how does it affect LSU? Like, I think a wild, wild west is not completely advantageous for LSU. I think there are plenty of schools that will have a sizable advantage over LSU in the Wild Wild West. That said, LSU didn't have trouble paying a coach $100 million while they were buying out another one. And they didn't have trouble signing the top portal class in the country in football. And they haven't had trouble buying out a defensive staff 2 years ago. They seem to find the money when they need it. That's best I can tell. So that's my thoughts on Donald Trump's executive order. One LSU Tiger, former Tiger, is headed elsewhere at the trade deadline. One former Tiger just penned a goodbye letter. We'll tell you about both of those guys when we come back to close out hour number one.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business. 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Finishing up hour number 1 here. Corks brings you our Friday shows each and every week. 2 LSU Tigers have posted on social media their kind of goodbye letter to LSU. I saw Jared Jones's right before the show went live. He'll obviously sign after going in the 5th round to the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was up in Pittsburgh yesterday at PNC Park, taking some pictures there. Kate Anderson also had a goodbye letter. Not a shock the 3rd pick in the draft is going to decide to sign for whatever it is, $8 million. But Jared Jones, to me, just a great story. Comes in to LSU, kind of earns a role in the lineup on a championship team, has that role reduced significantly when LSU decided they were going to go back to Trey Morgan at first and that Dugas was going to play second, and they wanted to have Pearson in the lineup every day, and Joe Bear was coming on and he needed to play, and there just wasn't a spot for Jared Jones. Travinsky came on as a DH and caught a little bit when Milazzo was dinged. But Jones didn't pout or anything. He just watched, observed, came back, hit 28 home runs the following year, and could have gone pro after that. I mean, just a prodigious power hitter in his 2nd season, and decided, hey, I'm gonna come back and be a key piece to a team that makes it to Omaha. Like, that's what he said he wanted to do it, and he meant it. And he came back, and he was a monster piece of a team that went to Omaha, and he was a monster piece of LSU winning the national championship. He'll have his moment forever, which will always be the walk-off hit against Arkansas. Of course, he had the big home run in the 8th inning that tied it a little bit earlier, but that got lost because there was a double play ball that was thrown his way and error on him to allow the go-ahead run to score, and so we forget about the home run he hit to right center field to tie the game, but it was a huge play. And he redeemed himself with the error at first base with a huge swing off Jimenez to win that game and send LSU to the championship series. And I think a lot of people have asked me about his draft position, how Fry was an earlier pick, and it took Jones longer to go. And I was like, look, I think Ethan Fry has a little bit more versatility than Jared. He runs better, and he can play a couple outfield positions, which Jared's not going to do. And there are reasons for that. But Jared Jones has one awesome tool. He's a monster power hitter, and he can certainly drive the ball to the opposite field with a ton of authority, which is not something that a lot of guys can do. So I'm hopeful that Jared makes it up the ladder with Pittsburgh and finds his way to the big league club. If he does, that's phenomenal. If he doesn't, he's still legendary here in Baton Rouge for what he did. And it's a blessing that it is a curse that you have to win here to get the recognition that everyone else gets. Like if you just go to Omaha and go 2 and out, like if you don't get to Omaha, and you need to get to that level, it just feels like you gotta win a championship. Like I know that Alex Bregman didn't win a championship here, and he's still revered and should be, but like it's few and far between. Kevin Gausman never got to Omaha, and I don't think that's completely tarnished his legacy. But the greats here in Baton Rouge have won championships, and Jared Jones has 2 to his name. He didn't feel like he was a big piece to the first one, even though he really was. He was a huge piece to the second one, and can always have that in his back pocket as he moves on into professional baseball. The other I wanted to mention, Griffin Herring has been traded today. The trade deadline is coming up next week, and Griffin Herring, who was drafted by the Yankees, signed well above slot, has really thrown the ball well in his first full professional season. He's been moved to the Rockies now, so that's not the best organization in terms of pitching over the years, and certainly the elements have a lot to do with that. But Griffin Herring's had a great start to his career. The Rockies have kind of a profile they look for in pitching that they think works in Coors Field, and it's difficult to do. They haven't cracked that code just yet, but Griffin Herring is now a piece of their plans. Of course, they have Jaden Hill there as well, who made his big league debut earlier this year. A couple former Tigers that are top prospects now in the Rockies organization. So it's good. It's tough to be traded, I think, but to know that someone covets you, like the Rockies had an eye on the entire Yankee organization and picked Griffin Herring and one other prospect that they wanted in return in this deal. So very cool that somebody pegged Griffin in that way, that they want to bring him in and be part of the organization. So Jared Jones, Kate Anderson penning their goodbye letters via social media to LSU, and Griffin Herring on the move from the Yankees organization to the Colorado Rockies organization, which maybe easy to break through. Well, I shouldn't say easy. That's a really poor choice of words. Should be a little bit cleaner a path to the big leagues if you're talking about a Rockies team that could set an MLB record for futility this year. They are not good. So you can move through that system maybe a little bit more quickly, and maybe Griffin gets that opportunity. So our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. If you missed any of the first hour, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, certainly on YouTube as well. Open the show with Noah Fant. He's the guy the Saints are looking into. Does it make sense to bring him in? I gave my thoughts on that. The veteran tight end. Preston Guy talking some LSU offensive line with us at 1:15. Appreciate him for jumping aboard. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. And Donald Trump signing an executive order about college sports. I talked about that a little bit. So the best of my ability and knowledge at 1:30. Second hour, going to be fast moving. We're going to start with LSU and their wide receivers. We heard a big piece on LouisianaSports.net about it. It's a loaded group. I'm going to talk about it coming back. And Keith Hornsby in 35 minutes, new to the LSU staff, certainly not new to LSU basketball. We'll do that coming up in 35 minutes from now. Pause for Sports Center. Back with more on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs, reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parrishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parrishbuilt.com.
Is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Yankees, looking for a left-handed bat and replacement at third ahead of Thursday's MLB trade deadline, acquired third baseman Ryan McMahon from Colorado for 2 pitching prospects today. The Mets acquired lefty reliever Gregory Soto from the Orioles for 2 minor leaguers and bolstered their bullpen. Jets quarterback Justin Fields held out of today's practice for precautionary reasons due to a dislocated toe on his right foot. Fields, one of several big changes for New York this offseason. And don't be surprised if the Jets are in the playoff mix late this fall under Coach Aaron Glenn, says ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
When we think about the Jets last year, they struggled with penalties. They struggled with turnovers. And I think what Aaron Glenn's going to do, he's going to clean that up. So I don't think they have the highest ceiling at year one. I think that's pretty clear. But I think they're going to be hard to beat. They're going to be physical. And when we're sitting here in November saying, hey, there's a surprise team or two that's still alive for the playoffs, I think the Jets will be in that conversation.
Jets 5-1 odds to make the playoffs for ESPN Bet. MLS suspended Inter Miami's Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba 1 game for skipping Wednesday's All-Star game.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Friday edition, final hour here on this work week for us here on the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Hope you're staying dry and safe out there in South Louisiana. A bit of a wet start to the weekend. We're fired up. You're hanging out with us, Keith Hornsby, in 30 minutes, talking LSU basketball with the former Tiger great, who's now on staff at LSU. So looking forward to that conversation coming up in half an hour. Series continues over on LouisianaSports.net. In-depth chart. We started on the offensive line, center, guard, tackle, moved out to tight end, and now moving out wide to the wide receivers. Took a long time to write this one, as there's a lot of wide receivers on this roster. But it was fun to write because this LSU receiving core in 2025, I believe, is going to be excellent. I'm lukewarm on the offensive line. I am. That's been pretty obvious, and I think most people are. I am not lukewarm at all on the wide receiver group. I think they're going to be excellent. Absolutely excellent. Now, last year's group was productive. Was it complete? I don't know. Did it have enough variance in its skill set? I don't think so. But Garrett Nussmeier still threw for 4,052 yards last year. That was 5th in the country. He had more completions than any quarterback in the SEC, led second place Quinn Ewers by 40, and Ewers played an extra game over Nussmeier. LSU was 6th in the country in third down conversions. They averaged 30 points per game. It was a good offense that relied heavily on the passing game. We know this. So Kyron Lacey, CJ Daniels, and then to Aaron Anderson and, Xavion Thomas and whoever was out there. And certainly Mason Taylor had his role as a tight end as well. But it was a good group. But you were very much missing the big play. And I think you get that with this group. In fact, there's nothing that I could look at with this group that I think you're lacking outside of a proven first-team All-American. But Aaron Anderson exploded last year and led LSU in receiving yards and catches. He had over 850 yards and was really good as a possession receiver who stretched the field occasionally. And he's back. And I think he's going to have a great year. And I think he'll be able to play his role even better, which is a guy who's very good in the short and intermediate because they've got vertical threats on the outside. That's certainly Chris Hilton, who we've seen it. He's made 9 catches of 40-plus yards in very limited time in his 4 years. He came in, big play last year against Oklahoma, big play against Baylor. Like, he comes in, he stretches the field. We've talked about it a lot. But Barian Brown does the same thing. He's got elite speed, busts the top off the defense. You're talking about Kentucky's freshman leader in receiving yards. And I think that those two guys add a vertical threat you so desperately needed last year. And in addition to those two guys, you have Nick Anderson, who showed himself to be a vertical threat at 6'3" at Oklahoma 2 years ago. The stats you continue to hear is that he set Oklahoma's freshman touchdown record in receiving. That's a big deal at a place that's just been churning through Heisman quarterbacks. Hurts didn't win a Heisman, but he was awesome. Murray won a Heisman. Mayfield won a Heisman. Bradford won a Heisman. Like, they've been chucking it around for a decade and a half in Norman. And no freshman has caught more touchdowns than Nick Anderson. Now, I'm a little concerned about Nick Anderson's health. Not because I saw him last week on crutches. I didn't. Not because he hasn't had time since his injury last fall to heal. He's had a year. But if you go out in the spring and a guy's got a wrap on his hamstring and he's not going through all the drills, not doing everything that's asked, you have skepticism before we get out there. I will tell you this. When we go out there a week from yesterday to watch the first practice, I am going to the wide receiver group and I'm checking on Nick Anderson. It's the first thing I'm going to do at practice. Because I think he could be the biggest difference maker from the portal class. He's the guy in this receiving core that I look at and I go, that's a number one option. That's a first-round pick. I think he's got that ability. I don't think Aaron Anderson is going to be a first-team All-American, and I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick at 5'8". I think he's going to catch 60 passes for 800 yards. Again, I don't think he's got the ceiling that Anderson does. I don't think Chris Hilton is going to be a number one receiver or a first-round pick in the NFL. I think he's awesome. I think he brings an added dimension to this offense that LSU so desperately needed last year. But I think his biggest trait is his speed, and he's still like 6'1". I don't think Barian Brown at 5'11" is going to be the number one option. I don't think he's going to be an NFL team's number one wide receiver. I think he's explosive. I think he's the SEC record holder for single-season kickoff returns for a touchdown. He's returned a kickoff for a touchdown in all 3 of his years at Kentucky. He's the all-time leading freshman receiver at Kentucky. He's our 11th all-time in their history in receiving in 3 years. But I don't think he's number one. Anderson could be a number one NFL wide receiver, I think. He's got that much ability with that frame, speed, catch radius, route running, all of it. And I can sit here in late July and envision you a situation where Nick Anderson catches 1,200 yards worth of balls with 8 touchdowns and is a first-team All-American. I can envision you a scenario where he's not quite healthy and they've got so much depth at wide receiver, he's not even a factor. Like, I can see both ways. But right now, as I evaluate it, I think my opinion is it's closer to the first one. When the portal opened and players started going in and LSU started getting linked to him, he was the first one I looked at and went, oh, yeah, get him. So I'm very excited about that top group. I think LSU's top 3 receivers this year are Nick Anderson, Aaron Anderson, and Chris Hilton. I think those are the top 3 guys. I think Barian Brown is right there in that mix at 4. And then I think you look at a host of others that will play a role as it's presented to them. You got to go to Trey'Dez Green and Bauer Sharp first at tight end. And then does Destin Hill emerge? Like, we have not seen anything from Destin Hill in 4 years of college. Like, he didn't play his first 2 years at Florida State, was away from the team, came in, played a little bit, and then he got hurt, missed basically the entire season last year. Like, he's been out of high school for 4 years, and he's played 1. So I don't know what to expect from him. Xavion Thomas, to me, is down the line as far as wide receiver goes, but there's going to be a role for him as a ball carrier. They're going to get him the ball out of the backfield some. They're going to run him in the jet sweep game. We saw this all spring. It wasn't like one practice, like, oh, there's Xavion Thomas on a jet sweep. Like, all spring long, he was in the backfield working on the running game, and he was motioning into jet sweep action and catching some screens and whatnot. And there's a role for him. It's not a 900-yard receiver. Kyle Parker, little bit limited in what he is based on his size. He's not the fastest guy out there, but he's a good route runner. Hopefully he's back from a couple of injuries. Triceps injury shouldn't be an issue this far removed. You heard it right after the UCLA game. So there are roles for those guys. And then you've got like legitimate track stars in Jelani Watkins, Phillip Wright, and Teron Francis, who I don't know that have a role on this team, but like as far as ability, with their ability to run is nuts. They're real track fast. I saw some numbers. Teron Francis was the top-ranked wideout in the state in 2025, 6'1", 205. He anchored Edna Carr's 4x100 relay team on the track. And Wright at Destrehan was clocked at a 4.3440, so 4.3 in the 40 at the All-American Bowl showcase. And then he won the 5A regional in the 100 and the 200 on the track. So, yeah, Jelani Watkins, who was like blazing fast in track in his first year on the LSU track team, clocked a 6.63 in the 60-meter. That's seventh fastest in school history. So these are guys that are like 6, 7, 8 in your wide receiver, and they're setting track records. So it's an embarrassment of riches for Cortez Hankton. My opinion, I told you, is that those are the top 4 guys, and I expect LSU to be an absolute handful. But what does it always come back to? It's come back to this every discussion we've had on the offense, on Nussmeier, on Trey'Dez Green, on the wide receivers, on Caden Durham or Harlan Berry. Offensive line. If LSU keeps Garrett Nussmeier upright, these guys are going to have a freaking field day on most Saturdays. They just are. Because they've got like the short, quick guys that are hard to get in space like Anderson and Brown. They've got the size and the length in Nick Anderson. They've got the game-changing speed with Hilton and Brown. They've got every piece you could want on this receiving core, except for a proven first-team All-American coming back. So, to me, this is a huge strength of the team. It's a huge part of the identity of the team. And if they're allowed to go out there and do their work, they're going to be a nightmare matchup for a lot of defensive coordinators. Now, that said, if you can't protect Nussmeier and you can't run the ball and the cavalry's coming, then these guys are going to be neutered and they're not going to be effective. But if they can just figure something out to get the ball into space, into these guys' hands, they're going to do a lot of damage for this LSU football team. So that's a look at wide receiver. I've got a deeper dive in terms of the text. Who's gone, who's back, who's new. I've got some video and some highlights plugged into the story. So if you have not checked out in-depth chart on LouisianaSports.net, just go to the LSU Sports tab. They're all right there in order. I've got center, guard, tackle, tight end, and now wide receiver. If you'd like to kind of get a fresher, get a different look or a first look maybe at this LSU football team as we kind of ease out of the summer and into fall camp, it's all there for free on LouisianaSports.net. Appreciate you all for checking that out each and every day. We'll step aside, come back. Is Nick Saban coaching again? He did an interview on Fox News. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance front. Captives are the future of the insurance, and in some ways they're the present in insurance as well. If you're a sizable company and you're a risk manager or CFO or an owner and you're in charge of handling the insurance and you haven't looked at a captive or explored what that may do to your bottom line, call Jonathan Carbo, reach out at HighlandIG.com and just see, because not every agent, not every broker can handle a captive. The Highland Insurance Group can. They do it every day. So if you feel like you may be a fit, you want to help out on the bottom line with your insurance costs, which can be astronomical in a lot of cases, See if a captive works for you. Jonathan Carbo and his team are happy to help you with that. It's HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group right here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
So to finish yesterday's show, I was talking about some Scotch glasses on the internet. Wrigley Field, Cubs W flag, 2016 World Series champs. They were awesome. $15, great deal. And I said I was going to do some research on whether or not it was legit.
Yeah.
I typed in the name of the company.
Yep.
Said it was a scam.
Well, not surprised.
I mean, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I liked the glasses. They have two styles.
Yes.
I was going to be able to pick which one I wanted.
You just have to.
I only have one Scotch glass that has Cub stuff on it. I need a second. This is a great deal, great design.
You shouldn't have got your hopes up, Hunt.
What did the site say? I searched it if it was okay. Here's the opening line if epickeeps.com was good. It says epickeeps.com operates a fraudulent e-commerce platform designed to extract customer payments and sensitive personal information through deceptive shopping schemes.
They almost got you.
Freaking Epic Keeps. It's a good scheme. It looked like a good glass.
Yeah. I'm sure they've gotten plenty of people with it.
They almost got me.
They did.
I was very interested. And now every time I open Instagram, it's like the second time.
Yep.
Epic Keeps. It just shows up every time. They think they got me. Tricks on you, Epic Keeps. I'm smarter than that. Just took one.
Just a little bit smarter.
One catfishing situation, but we've maneuvered through that, and we're all good. Let he who hasn't been swindled by an Instagram ad after a couple cocktails throw the first stone.
I have never been swindled. I can't say that I've been on Instagram when I am mildly intoxicated, but I've never been swindled by any Instagram ads.
All right, let's talk about Nick Saban. Greg McElroy just throwing bombs on everybody right before SEC Media Days, saying, look, wouldn't be surprised if old Nick came back and coached. And then you got Kiffin saying he should come back and coach, and you got Feinbaum saying he should come back and coach, and he's and you got all this groundswell of momentum. And I don't know why Nick Saban went on Fox and Friends today. I have no idea what the topic of conversation was. Probably the executive order from Donald Trump. I'm assuming that's what it was. But the end of the interview, they asked Nick Saban if he would consider a return to coaching. Now, Nick is in his 70s, 72, and it looks great, doing a great job on game day. But is he going to come back and coach? And this was his answer on Fox and Friends today.
I never really ever had a thought about getting back into coaching until 2 days ago.
Do we have sound?
I never really ever had a thought about getting back into coaching until 2 days ago. Miss Terry said I had to run the sweeper in the entire downstairs. So while I was running the sweeper, the thought occurred to me, when you were coaching, you had a heck of a lot better job than this.
So that's Nick. Miss Terry's making him do house chores, and he says you had a lot better job than this when you were coaching. Clearly, that was a canned answer from Nick. And maybe he's learned his lesson from the days in Miami where he said, I'm not going to be the Alabama football coach. And then he was the Alabama football coach. But it was not a denial. He did not say, I'm not coming back to coaching. Just said that Miss Terry had him doing some chores. My thought is this. Nick Saban said when he retired that he did not feel he could do the job the way he had always done it. He could not burn the candle at both ends at 4:45 in the morning and 11 o'clock at night and do the things that he needed to do. And that's probably true once you get a few years beyond 70, like getting up at 4 every morning and staying up working until 11 o'clock is probably a lot. Be a lot for me, and I'm not 70. I'm half. But it changes the dynamics if you go work in the NFL. Because in the NFL, you don't have to recruit your players. You don't have to recruit 16-year-olds and the current staff. You just have to rely on your scouting department to go get players, and then you coach them. So I know, based on following sports for the last 25 years, how some of these guys are wired in the highest levels of sports. And they just don't like sitting at the lake. Like me, I can sit at the lake. I can sit on the beach. I can play golf. I can take a nap at 3 p.m. I promise you, I'll be just fine doing all that. But Nick's not. Like, he's not wired. He does play golf. He does go to the lake, but he wants to coach. You just watched it in this market with Paul Maneri. He sat out a year. His back felt better. He played some golf. And then he looked around and went, well, I'm a little bored. And then he went to South Carolina. And that's just the way he's wired. Brett Favre couldn't quit. And so his body just made him quit. And I would not be surprised if Nick Saban came back and coached next year. I would be stunned if he coached college football next year. I would not be surprised if he came back and coached 3 or 4 years in the NFL. I would not. That's based on no inside information. It's just based on people in Tuscaloosa are talking. Nick's not denying it. He's not saying that's a stupid thing to say. He took a canned answer with a little quip that was executed decently and dismissed the question. So I don't think the rumors came out of nowhere. I just don't think he wants to jump back into college, which is just, let's face it, a far more intense environment in terms of your demands as a coach. You've got to deal with the boosters. You got to deal with the players. You got to deal with recruits. You got to deal with your team. You got to deal with your coaches. You got to deal with all that goes into the NIL and the transfer portal and all the things that go into the massive amount of rule changes that are seemingly by the week. It's just more. And I don't think he wants to deal with that anymore. I don't think he feels like he can do that to his standard. But can he go work for a really good NFL GM who's got a quarterback in place, that's got a reasonable roster, that moved on from a coach, and say, hey, I can give you 3 or 4 years? I can see that. I can see that for sure, because I think that's the way he's wired. I think the game day gig's a pretty good one. Fly you around private, stay in a nice hotel, get a big steak dinner, talk college football for 3 hours, get on the jet, go home, go to the Alabama game. That seems like a great gig to me. It pays, you're in football, you can break down film, you can talk to coaches, no pressure, no stress. But you don't win and lose, and you're not the boss. And for a guy that has always been the boss and has always been working in terms of wins and losses, it just may not satiate the need that he has for that. And some of these guys step away, and they are getting some better sleep at night, and they do feel better than they did right at the end when they were forced out or retired on their own. And you think, oh, I can do this again. And I just feel like, not based on the Fox and Friends appearance, but based on my understanding of the guy that Nick Saban is, I just feel like there's a good chance that he'll kick the tires on it. It's probably got to be the right fit. He's in a spot right now where it probably has to be the right fit. Like, Paul Maneri was not going to go coach Louisiana Tech. Like, that was never going to happen. He was not going to go to a place where you can't win the College World Series, and you're probably never going to Omaha, and you're playing in front of 11 people, and just that was never going to happen. And Nick's not going to go coach, Troy, because it's down the road from Tuscaloosa, and he just wants to get in there and mix it up and grab the whistle. He'd want to compete for a championship. And the one thing he hasn't conquered is a Super Bowl. And he could theoretically do that in a couple of years in the NFL in the right spot if it presented. And I'm not here to tell you what that is. I don't know. But if the right spot presented itself, maybe. Wouldn't rule it out. We'll see. Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. When we come back, Keith Hornsby, former Tiger, now on the staff at LSU basketball. Good enough to give us a little bit of time. We'll talk to him next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Man, that dealership, it is state of the art. It really is. It's amazing. You walk in there and you do not feel like you're in a car dealership. You feel like you're in a resort. You feel like you're in a spa. And if you do go by and get some service done at Genesis, which, by the way, is complimentary for 3 years. Your maintenance for 3 years is complimentary on your new purchase. And you want to go in there and get some work done while that's happening, you can. They've got private sections kind of roped off. They've got a gorgeous little screened area that you can sit in. Amazing Wi-Fi, free complimentary snacks, great coffee machine. It's incredible. It's huge, has every bell and whistle. You make every kind of coffee you could want with it, and they got awesome Wi-Fi and a great vibe in there. It's not like every single showroom. It's a cool spot that you've got access to because you drive a Genesis. And so if you want to do valet maintenance, which most people do, that's great. They'll bring you a loaner. They got more than 20 on hand, and they'll go ahead and give you a loaner and do the maintenance and then bring it back for you. But if you want to sit there and get some work done while they handle your car, airline at PQ, you can do that in a very comfortable setting. It's just another perk. It's an experience to be a Genesis driver. If you've not gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis or been by the dealership, I just strongly, strongly recommend you go check it out. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
There it is, the extra mile. on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Standing in line, marking time, waiting for the welfare dime. 'Cause they can't buy a job. The man in the silk suit hurries by as he catches the poor old lady's eyes. Just for fun, he says, get a job. That's just the way it is.
Well, Bruce Hornsby here on a Friday. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Always want to remind you that Corks is happy to help you with their catering services. If you're looking to cater a birthday party, retirement party, want to feed the office, and certainly coming up in September, your tailgate parties, Corks can handle that. They can get you the big trays, that jumbo Gulf shrimp, crispy fried catfish, shoestring fries, honey butter rolls, hush puppies, all of it there at Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Let's go out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline now. Former Tiger Keith Hornsby, good enough to give us some time here on this Friday. Back in action with LSU basketball on the staff this time around. Keith, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Doing just fine, thanks. It's great to be back in Baton Rouge, that's for sure.
Well, tell us how that process came to be. I know you enjoyed a long professional career, played 9 seasons of professional basketball. How did you decide to come back and do a little coaching?
Oh, well, it's a bit complicated. I'll try to give you the short version. I played 5.5 years. I had almost a 9-year pro career, but the last 5.5 years were overseas in Europe. And in that time, I had my family with me, and we, had some kids, and that whole thing. And then it became difficult being away, especially for my wife, who's from Lafayette. Really started missing her friends and family, and kind of made the executive decision to move back to Baton Rouge, kind of mid-season. Although I finished the season, but we had the idea. This is last year, maybe in the fall of 24. So So we got the ball rolling, and next thing you know, like in June, like we got a house and we're back in Baton Rouge as if it was 2016. So back like we never left almost.
That's awesome. Tell me about your time in Europe. You obviously were a 3-time G League All-Star, 17, 18, 19, and then decided to go overseas. And it looks, based on what I'm looking at with your bio here, you saw just about everywhere Europe had to offer.
Yeah, when I first went over there, I couldn't have imagined, my journey would take me to the places it did. It's really playing one year to the next. I actually, even when I was at LSU, didn't anticipate having such a lengthy career. And I was planning on playing maybe 2 to 3 years and then getting into coaching. But I kept working and the opportunities kept getting better, and it was hard to turn down. And, although it was tough really living in these places, there's so many positive takeaways as well. And the basketball really fit my game. And, played in some of the best leagues, met some amazing people, and it really was a bit eye-opening culturally. And just, from a life perspective, you realize there's amazing people everywhere, and it's, and now we're back here, and life moves on,
Look, it's you played in Poland, you played in France, Germany, and in Lithuania. I see a few. Like, what was that like for your family to live and your wife to live in some of those places? You mentioned the cultural aspect of it.
Yes. So it was great. I mean, we had many great memories. It's funny, we always talk about them now, like, oh, you remember, this restaurant in Paris we went to, this night we explored this area. Now we'll always take away those because we have so many amazing memories. But the truth of it is, it's no vacation. Like, we live there.
Yeah.
Like we got to wake up and go to the grocery store, go to doctor's appointments. And it really feels foreign when you're there. Sure, English now 2025 is more widely spoken, but, still in the hinterlands of Germany and, like even in Paris and Lithuania, there's more English, but, you just feel foreign. So after 9-10 months, you start missing home. And for my wife, it was difficult because I had my team as sort of like a fraternity of people to, check that social box. Now, she didn't have anybody. Like, every now and then she'd have a wife and a few people she'd meet, but it was tough. And then when we had our daughter in Paris, she was basically a stay-at-home mom, and sometimes I'd be the only person she'd speak to for days at a time. And then, honestly, social media is like your worst enemy there because you can see everything you missed. And for her, all her friends were back in Baton Rouge, or not everyone, honestly, but she's seeing everything she was missing, and then she's sitting in some random apartment in in Europe, and like, sheesh, wish I could be there, and that builds up over time. But she did fantastic, and I'm very proud of her for how she adapted in ways that are very not typical. Certainly not what she envisioned probably back when she met me at LSU.
Well, look, I mean, I'm a guy who was born in Shreveport, lived there for 18 years, went to college at LSU in 19 years ago, and never left. So I've lived in 2 cities in 1 state my entire life. So for me to sit here and hear those stories, it's an amazing life experience that I'm confident y'all look back on so fondly because of the experience that so few people have, and now especially it's your home. Is that the way you think you'll end up looking at it down the road?
That's a great way of looking. Yes, we no doubt will. We'll always remember, the difficulties of it, the reality of actually doing it. But we recognize, even in the moments that were tough, we still knew it was a special experience, and it wasn't going to be forever. So we, no doubt about it, made the most of it.
We're chatting with Keith Hornsby, former LSU guard, now back coaching here in Baton Rouge on Matt McMahon's staff. Let's talk about that. Did you know that LSU would be where you could land and grab a job, or was that just a fortunate circumstance? How did that come about?
A bit fortunate circumstance. I made sure when Coach McMahon got the job to, establish a relationship with him. I was never in Baton Rouge much in the off seasons. I'd be in Lafayette a good bit with my in-laws. Okay. So I would come down to Baton Rouge and visit and meet the staff probably maybe once a summer. But ever since I met McMahon, I just established an instant friendship and relationship with him. That he's simply put, he's just my type of guy, my type of coach as well. So going into my last season overseas, I knew that we're nearing the end, and I was hoping the opportunity would be there to come in, but it's never guaranteed. So I just let him know that I was interested, and then sure enough, I guess. I was hoping so. I think I've always made it clear how much LSU and LSU basketball has meant to me, whether it's how I played and just in general, the pride expressed for representing the 3 letters. But I was hoping that would help my case if I wanted to be on staff, because I wanted to help the program, help the players, and hopefully have success here.
No question. Obviously, it's a brand new team that they're bringing in, a lot of guys from the transfer portal. What have your impressions been of watching the guys work out here in the offseason this summer?
Actually, my main job here is player development so far. So I'm in the gym with these guys all the time. And I will admit, I considered myself a hard worker when I was here, but I never had someone like me to be in the gym, doing skill work as much as these guys do. And it's amazing. This is a great group. It really is. It's sort of an older roster, which I think helps bring a sense of maturity from the foundation up. And yeah, it's a pleasure. These guys show a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of positivity, and a lot of talent. And man, I'm having to turn them away, honestly, from getting in the gym, because there's just only so many time in the day, along with the other obligations they have. But I'm thrilled so far, and we will see what happens. So far so good.
How are the vibes? Obviously, last year didn't go the way that LSU basketball would have wanted it to go. It's a brand new team, as you mentioned. So is it a completely fresh start, or is there lingering effect from a disappointing season last year?
There's no lingering effect. Obviously everyone knows the results, but we're moving forward, and that's what we understand the road ahead, how the SEC is. It's a gauntlet. So it's one thing I like about McMahon. I think he's always brought a great mix of discipline with encouragement and positivity, and right now we're looking forward to just what we can do to be the best team possible come November.
Are you excited to get a look at the SEC for the first time in a long time? Because it's different than when you were here. I can promise you that. It's been amazing to watch the league take off the way it has, and I'm sure that the coaching staff has told you about that.
Well, I was around a bit last year, so I was not on the bench or anything, but I would come to some games. And man, I'm gonna defend the SEC when I was there. I think it was underrated a bit. There were some pros in that time. But now, inarguably, it's different. It's the best conference in the country, no doubt, and it should retain that crown this year. It's exciting to see. It just makes me more proud that I competed in the SEC, even if it was a little bit different then. But I'm a big fan of the conference. I think it's the best conference in the country, through and through. I think I got a pretty good argument there with any detractors, especially because I'm from Virginia. It's ACC country, so it's I'm an SEC guy, and I'm not afraid to let everyone know about it.
Do you lace them up and go give those guys some business a little bit on the practice floor, or are you just simply sitting on the sideline with a whistle?
Oh no, I know. No, they know. They know I'm capable. They know I'm capable. May not have the edge that I used to, but don't get me wrong. They respect me upon arrival, and if they don't, hey, nothing a little one-on-one session won't fix.
I love to hear that. One more question, Keith. We've so enjoyed this. I appreciate the time. I'm curious, with your perspective internationally on the game, do you feel like the international game is preparing some of these international players to come over with a higher skill set than what the AAU circuit in college basketball is? in America. I'm just curious because there's so many great international players in the NBA, and I think you probably got a decent look at why they're so skilled over there.
Well, it's just do they have a different upbringing in the game? There's not really an AAU kind of comparable thing overseas. If you're a good enough player, you're playing with a pro team from the time you're 15 on. And in some senses, if there's not like if there's not a sort of a junior league, like you're practicing with grown men. Like many teams I was on, they had, 16, 17-year-olds sort of serving as, I wouldn't say like walk-ons comparable here, but they would be practice players. And then if you're good enough, you're getting minutes and you're on the main team. So like they come with a different preparation, different teaching, a different experience than anybody could have over here in America. So that's why if you're getting an overseas guy, you can expect them to be a little ahead of the game IQ-wise. But, that's obviously neither here nor there, depending on the player. But generally speaking, that's kind of the consensus, So
that's fascinating
that's
stuff.
what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing basic basketball life that you've lived and continue to live here, and we're fired up that you're back here, back with LSU basketball. I've really enjoyed this, and I hope we can catch up a little bit down the line.
I'm sure we will. Great speaking to you.
Thanks. That's Keith Hornsby, LSU basketball former guard, now on the staff with Matt McMahon as LSU gets ready with a team that there's a good feeling about. I can tell you around the LSU basketball program right now, they changed the way they operate a little bit in the transfer portal, and they're making a few bigger splashes. And I know that we are in the shadows of a baseball national championship, and football is less than a week away on the practice field, and there's not a ton of basketball juice in July. But I can tell you personally, I'm excited to watch that team play November, December, and the SEC play, because I think you're going to see a different type of team this year, and certainly we hope that's the case. Last year was a bit of a disappointment, as we talked about, but they got a chance to rebound from that with a whole new roster, and pumped that Keith is back in town and helping LSU basketball, which he said he got a lot of pride in, which is a really cool thing. I always appreciate when guys from out of the state come to LSU and it becomes home. I was talking to Kevin Gosman about that at Ronnie Rance's thing back in the winter. He had a fundraiser at Little Bears, and I was talking to Kevin, who lives here. He's from Centennial, Colorado, and now Baton Rouge is home, no matter he's played for the Orioles and the Braves and the Giants and now the Blue Jays, and Baton Rouge is home. And Keith kind of feels that way, and obviously having a wife from down the road in Lafayette will help that pretty quickly as well. So appreciate Keith for giving us a little bit of time here on this Friday. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Transform your closet. That's what it says right there on the website, OneBathAndClosets.com. By transform, it may mean just making a new one, but it could also mean just using your space more efficiently by adding some bells and whistles like cubbies and drop downs, mirrors, different drawers. You've just got clutter that you can't seem to get rid of. Even if you go in and try to take some things out, and then a week later you look up and you're still cluttered, maybe it's because your closet isn't as functional as it should be. You can customize a closet to your exact specifications, and David Duvall and his team can do it. They've been doing it for 30 years. Go to the website. Look at what I'm talking about. You can see pictures of their great work. It's gorgeous, it's functional, and it's customized to your specifications. David promises you this. He's going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's David Duvall in One Bath and Closets. Find him online at OneBathAndClosets.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now. and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
All right, closing up shop here. Weekend just about upon us. Wet Friday here in Baton Rouge. Hope y'all are safe and dry. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Saints taking the day off tomorrow. They will be back on the practice field on Sunday. We'll certainly have reports for you on Monday's show. And we are inside a week from LSU reporting for fall camp. If you're looking for LSU football content, LouisianaSports.net's got you covered there. I've got an in-depth chart series, one position every single day in the morning, usually right about 8 o'clock. Have a position preview up. Today's wide receivers. It is long, but it's very fun to read, I think, because LSU's wide receivers are going to be awesome. And if you'd rather not read it and just hear about it, I talked about it at 2 o'clock today. So you can find that at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcasts. All right, we'll close it up with some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
I think there's a Flight by Yingling in my future, probably in the next 2.5 hours. Got a little bit of work to take care of here, and then we'll get on home and crack the top on a Friday evening. It's the next generation of light beer built for Louisiana weekends. If you're headed out on the water this weekend, if you're headed to the pool this weekend, if you're getting burgers out on the grill this weekend, which I'm also doing, Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer. It's got that light, refreshing taste, but also just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one here. Crosstown Classic this weekend. Hunt, get the brooms out. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. They're not playing well enough to sweep anybody, but they better not lose 2 games to the White Sox, who are just atrocious.
They are bad.
I haven't looked at the pitching matchups.
So Shota's going tonight.
Feels
However,
like Shota's up now. Yes.
He is going tonight. However, the White Sox have Adrian Hauser going, former Brewers guy.
Yes.
Starter for the Brewers. He's actually been pitching pretty solid.
I hope he pitches like dog doo-doo
I
today.
do too.
I hope it's the worst outing of his entire life, including Little League.
I agree.
Tonight.
I concur. I hope he does as well. Shota's been pretty solid.
I sincerely hope he does not make it out of the first inning. 11 earned runs allowed. That's what I'm looking
Rate
for.
Field, Hunt. That's where they're playing.
That's just awful.
Yeah, Rate Field.
Awful place. We'll never go there.
All right, next one. Happy Gilmore 2 came out on Netflix today. Happy Gilmore 2, take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it.
I'll take it.
Meaning I'm going to watch it. I think we're going to watch it tonight, apparently.
Okay.
I'm trying to angle for episodes 2 and 3 of this missing persons on a cruise ship
Wait,
documentary.
what happened to The Sopranos?
That didn't work.
You already quit?
We saw one episode.
You already gave up.
That's it.
That's a poor effort.
That's
Hunt.
correct.
Very poor effort.
I did not promise a quality effort. I didn't have the want to, and Alyssa doesn't either. And we didn't force it. This crime documentary, or maybe crime missing person documentary, I want to watch that. We're gonna watch Happy Gilmore 2. I think. I don't have high hopes. My confidence level is like a 4 or 5. I just want some quality references to the original.
There are going to
make
be.
me
There
chuckle.
will be.
That's all I'm
100%.
really looking for.
Yeah.
There's no way it's good.
I don't think it's going to be good. Probably not. There will probably just be a lot of callbacks to the first movie,
which is fine.
So that's all you're looking for,
Is Ben
really.
Stiller in it?
He probably will be. I'm assuming everybody. I mean, of course, Carl Weathers unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, he will not
last
be
year.
in it.
He won't be in it. But
AI.
Yeah. Well, that would be. I don't know if there's any kind of laws against that, but yeah, everyone else I'm sure will be in it.
Chubbs, R.I.P. Heck of an instructor.
Really good.
That's it. We're done on a Friday. You want to check out the show, miss it on demand, talk to Keith Hornsby, great conversation we just had, talk to LSU wide receivers, Preston Guy talking football, plus the Saints camp report. All that on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. That's out one more day. Muso's going to drive you home and finish your week off. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow, same time, same place for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization up